Hi, welcome to Soup to Nuts. I'm Brian Iarussi along with my co-host Oswald Iarussi. Tonight we're going to be cooking, I'll be cooking stuffed chicken with prosciutto, stuffed with spinach and mozzarella cheese, and a wine sauce that I will add onto it at the end. And my father will tell you what he's going to cook tonight.
Brian, it's always a pleasure to be with you. I'm excited about this program tonight. I'm also happy and I'm thankful. I'm happy because Thanksgiving is only 2 days away, and we're sitting with all our family enjoying a beautiful Thanksgiving meal with our family and grandchildren. And I'm thankful that the weather's been beautiful and that we're able to cook and show these people how to make some simple recipes. You want me to start first?
Why don't you tell them what you're going to make first?
Well, I'm going to make a risotto. And you want me to start or you want to start?
No, I'll start. What I did was, the first step you're going to do is you're going to pound out some chicken breast. I don't know if the camera can get a shot on that. Pound them out real thin using some wax paper. And in shortness of the time, I prepared some ahead of time, but I will prepare a few of them, which I will do right now. So you have them pounded out flat. You can spice them up with a little salt and pepper. Then you put some nice prosciutto, Italian prosciutto ham in there, either the Parma style or the regular style, whatever you prefer. Then I use the whole spinach leaf. Obviously wash and pick off the stems if you can. Put that in there. I get the nice mozzarella in the slices, cut those up, just like you're making a sandwich, but instead of putting it on top, you're going to roll it. So you roll them into rolls like that. Usually you bake these, but we don't have a baking oven here, so I'm going to try to. You can also saute them, which is what I'm going to do also. So now you get your hot oil already in the skillet, and you lay them the seam side down, so it'll form a little bond there. So you get olive oil in there. You want to have it a little hot before you put this in. I'm going to turn it up now. I did spice them with some salt and pepper. And now you can start, because that's going to take a little bit now. So go ahead.
Before I start, I'll just show you some of the ingredients that I'm using in my risotto. What is risotto? It's nothing more than rice cooked in many, many different ways. And tonight I'll cook it the risotto Milanese. They claim that this was started way back in Milan many years ago. That's why the name Milanese. But I believe it was started 65 years ago back in Framingham with my mother, my parents were cooking these meals. In any event, it can consist of some butter, which I already started, and you can buy the butter in any store, any supermarket. I'm going to add some onions, saute that. Again, you can buy these in any supermarket or a grocery store. Now, the rice, which is the basis of risotto. You don't use the standard rice you buy in the store. You've got to use something we do to make it very delicious. This is a burial rice, a product of Italy. You can't buy this in the store. You can buy this at Waverly Supermarket, where you bought this. It's a fine rice, makes a delicious risotto. Again, I'll be adding some cheese, the latter part of the recipe. And again, you can buy cheese in supermarkets and markets, but you won't buy cheese like this. The aroma, the flavor, the texture, again, from Italy, again, from Waverly Supermarket. I'll be adding some parsley, and this you can get anywhere. This special parsley came from my garden. I still have parsley and different herbs in my garden. Had a fantastic year this year in my garden. I'll be adding some wine. This wine decanter was given to me by a friend, Mr. Huey from Ashland, Dick Huey. Beautiful bottle. In the bottle, some wine that you cannot buy. at the traditional liquor store. This wine is homemade wine from a dear friend of mine, an Italian friend of mine. He's been in this country 14 years. He gave me a bottle of white and a bottle of red. Out of this world. It's going to really enhance the flavor of this risotto. So I got some butter in here, and I use probably a stick or maybe less than a stick. And again, you saute some onions. This is they call a sweet onion. And I like a lot of onion in my risotto, so I think I'll put it all in there. Because what happened, as you people know, when you cook saute onions, you start off with a lot of onions. Before you get through, it just comes down to very little. So again, saute my onions. That'll take about 3 or 4 minutes once I get the heat up where I want it. And then I'll add the rice. Now, there's so many different ways you can do this. There's so many different methods that you learn that you can save time and make it much, much more delicious. One of the fellows, again, at Wavy Supermarket, told me that this had a tendency to be castaci, and that's what you need to make a good risotto, staci. So he said what you could do is to rinse this through a strainer for a few minutes to get a lot of the starch off of the rice. Give it a better texture when you make the risotto. Then when I add my chicken broth here, and I must admit, this is not my homemade chicken broth. It's a very busy time of the year. It's 2 days before Thanksgiving, and we're all so busy. So what I did, I bought some canned soup from the supermarket. I'll be using that to go with my risotto. Now, why isn't this cooking? It's high. See, we do our work in the studio here with these stove units here. It's not like when you do it at home. Because you do it at home, you have more control, and you're accustomed to your stove. You know what the stove does, and you can cook accordingly. But here, I've had it on for about 2 minutes now, and I don't see anything happening here. But we don't care, because the magic of television, you can always take a break and come back. So we won't do that right now, because I still want to get this going a little bit. Again, like I said, the Italians have a way of saying Thanksgiving. Giorno di Ringraziato, which means a day of Thanksgiving. And we should all be thankful, because no matter what you have a lot, you can have a little bit, but you have family and you have everything. And that's what we do. I believe there'll be about, I say, 40, 35, 40.
Yeah, about that.
About 40. And every year, we make it a point to invite someone outside the family to join us at Thanksgiving. Some people that'll be alone for that particular day. And we're going to have a wonderful Irish couple be joining us. They've been here for a number of years, but they're alone. They don't have any family. So we invite them. And it'd be great to see them, because they're very nice people. And later on, if we have time, I'll be telling you a story about some Irish family way back 65 years ago. How you coming?
All right. We only got about 10 minutes left now. Anyway,
Take a break.
we have to flip in some of this chicken. I don't know if the camera one can catch a glimpse of it. Some of it's going to peel open, so you want to put it down, like I said, on the seam side first, so that it kind of makes a bond there. As you can see, some of them did. Some of them are going to open. There's nothing you can do about it. So you're just going to let them all get brown and flip them over. Like I said, the ideal way to make this is to bake it in the oven with on a baking pan. So what I'm going to do now is just try to flip all these over carefully. Some of them are going to open. And brown the other side. I can even cover it if I would like to I'm going to let it brown first. I'll cover it after and let it cook through the middle. But what I'm going to do after is, once the chicken is done, I'm going to take it out and put it on a separate plate. I have a leek here that I'm going to cut up really fine, add some more oil to the pan, saute the leeks, add some wine, put the chicken back in, cover it, and then it's done, because you want the wine to absorb into the chicken. Then we're going to have a nice risotto on the side with it, and it'll be done. So right now, I'm going to let that brown, go back to the risotto over there, and hopefully we can get out of here in less than 3.5 hours tonight.
On the way here, I stopped at another place that you can't buy bread in a supermarket like you can buy bread from this particular place. It's Framian Baking Bread, right down here, 135. I stopped in maybe an hour before I came here, and I never saw so much bread and rolls. I guess what's happening, they're closing Thanksgiving Day, so they're working a double shift. They're making all their breads today and tomorrow. They'll be so busy. So you people that want some very delicious bread and rolls to go with your Thanksgiving Day dinner, stop down to Framian Baker. And also, not too far down from there is the Wavy Supermarket. Stop in and see. When you walk in there, they have a lot of grocery in the front. You go at the end, you take a right, and you come into heaven. They get homemade cheese from Italy, homemade sausages. They get the best of the meats and cold cuts. Take a ride down there, and you find it worth your while. Now,
But let me interrupt you. If you're going to go before Thanksgiving, you better go. Well, you're not going to see this till after, but if you were gone, and we'll bump into you, I'm sure you'll say that the line was out the door, because everybody goes down there the day before, same as Christmas. For Christmas, if you're going to go, make sure you go at least 2 or 3 days ahead of time, because I was there last year, and I think I was standing in the line for about 45 minutes just to get a few things.
all right, let's say that the rice, the onion is, my mother would say, translucida. Now, what do you mean translucida? It means that you can almost see through the onions. It's cooked through, you can see through. Translucida. I think the American version is translucent. But anyway, again, one trick if you want, when you make this, get the good rice and rinse it a minute or two, get some of that starch out of it. So I'll just add it right now. So we'll incorporate some of the flavor of the onion. And I forgot to mention this saffrano, saffron. We use saffron to give it a unique flavor and also a nice yellowish color that we use a lot when we make our risotto. Another thing, when you make risotto, there's so many ways you can make this. I'm making just a plain Milanese risotto. You can deviate from that by adding your meats in the beginning, either chicken or sausage or whatever, and then mushrooms. So many different ways. This is a simple, basic one. What I do is, if I made a large quantity of this, I would take some out, put in a platter, and put some nice Italian sauce with a small piece of meatballs and pork and so forth, brujol, after you have it cooked. So right now, it's starting to sizzle a little bit. I'm going to use some of that wine, and this goes with the Milanese. A couple of out of this world. I wish you people can taste this. It's out of this world. Again, you can't buy this in the liquor stores. And I've got almost a full gallon, I'm not sure. And by the way, speaking of wine, why don't you talk about your wine? I always said, if I had 50 gallons of homemade wine in my cellar, I consider myself one of the wealthiest men in the world. Good wine, beautiful wife, good food, wonderful family. What else do you need? Talk about your wine.
Well, this year, first year, I made some wine with a friend of mine. It's a Burgundy wine. I'll bring a bottle on next show and pour a glass of it. It's a long process to make wine. Next year, when we make it, you can only make it in the month of September because that's when the grape crop comes in. It's a very long process as far as...
How many gallons?
We made 60.
60?
55, once you press it, we got another 5.
What's the fellow's name you made it with?
Phil Cephalo, he's a friend of mine, and he's a member of the Lions Club. He's a great guy, lives in Ashland.
Fantastic fella. Wonderful wife, Laurie. Beautiful children. Good friends of ours.
And his father, who is also from Italy, made wine when he was a young child. He's the one that showed us and held our hand through the whole process, so we appreciate him helping us too.
Oh,
But next year, when we do a show, we're gonna dub in the whole process. We went to Chelsea to get the grapes in Boston, and
you can show how you make it.
yeah, we'll bring Paul with a portable camera, or we can bring it and we'll
Yeah.
dub it all in. But it's fun.
What I do here now, once the alcohol from the wine has dissipated, right? Now the key to risotto is to add the chicken broth, and always have enough chicken broth so it's just above the rice. Once it gets below the rice, you add a little more. It's a process of adding, stirring, watching it. And now another way you can do this that I was told again by a good friend of mine is when I start adding this broth in, it's a tedious process. You gotta be there, watch it, make sure it doesn't stick, and so on. This fellow says, once you freeze a block of this broth, when the time comes you want to add the broth to your risotto, after your initial broth is made and the wine, put the frozen block into the pan here, and what happens? She slowly melts, and she slowly incorporates with the rice. Another little trick that I learned from a good friend of mine.
Let me just show him the chicken here. Camera 1. See how you want to get it golden brown, some of the chicken, if you can get it.
I'm sorry.
You can see, we lost it, but it's all pretty much browning up now. And what I'm gonna do is, before we take our break, I'll take the chicken out. There's a shot of it. You can see how it's browning up. Some of it's opening up, but that's fine. I'll take the chicken out, and I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil, cut up some leeks, saute that, and then add the chicken back in, add the wine, cover it, and we're done. But I want to use the drippings, deglaze the pan. You leave the drippings from the chicken in there, and you add the leeks and the olive oil and the wine, and use a wooden spoon and scratch up all the dried drippings in there, because that's going to make the flavor with the wine in there too.
When this is done, you know what's going to happen? We have a table set up here with two plates for you and I to sit at. We're going to enjoy this, and I'm sure we're going to have enough for the crew and also the people in the control room. Now, we got time before the break, right?
Yep.
You know, as I always do on the show, I tell a little story.
We got a little time, so I hope it's not too long.
How much time? 15?
No, less.
All right, look at it. The story is about, I always tell a story about my mother, and there's always a lesson to be learned. I'll be very quick. It's a long story, but we don't have much time. So way back 65 years ago, there was a mini war going on between the Irish and the Italians. Why, I don't know. But since then, we've intermarried, and it's been beautiful, and the most beautiful grandchildren came about from these Italian and Irish weddings. But back then, there was a mini war going. Didn't get along with each other. We lived in a small 4-room bungalow, and on the other side was a fenced-in area with a 2-family house and an Irish family. And our pastor, Reverend Paul Mulligan, said it was okay to use his name because it's an Irish story. I'll use Mulligan as the other family. So you had this fence around with a beautiful apple tree in the middle of the yard with 3 beautiful daughters. Each day the daughters would say to me, and I loved that apple. I see the apple, I couldn't touch it because I couldn't go into that side of the fence. Each day, the 3 girls would be out there and say, "Ozzie, you want an apple?" And I'd run out there, and they'd run away, and they'd giggle. This went on for the longest time. So finally one day I said, "I'm getting myself an apple." So Mr. Mulligan left for work. Early in the morning, I jumped over the fence, climbed the tree, picked up the apple. As I did, I heard Mr. Mulligan's voice saying, "Get off that tree, get out of my land, and give me that apple." So I climbed down the tree, I climbed down over the fence, and I was running. And right behind me was Mr. Mulligan chasing me. And way behind our house was like a hill going up a slope about 15 feet up. I scurried up top there. I got up there quickly. Mr. Mulligan was just about halfway up, and I said, Mr. Mulligan, I want to give you your apple back. So I threw it down at him, hit him on the forehead, the applesauce all over his head, all over his eyes. He slid down to the bottom of the slope, and there she was, my mother, with a nightgown on, with a rip over here, a long black hair in front of her, just enough for her eyes to see through. I extended her over her arms was a broomstick, a familiar broomstick that was used on me a number of times. She was yelling at me, get out of my house. What are you bothering my son for? You threaten my, get out of my house. He said, he came over my land. He said, well, you're in my land now, get out of here. He got up, he walked around the corner of the house. She's right behind him, kept looking at her. As soon as it disappeared, now what's the moral of that story? Do not steal, right? Very simple. You do not steal. But a 7, 8-year-old boy had a different moral. I felt at the time, if I'm gonna get a spanking for taking one apple, then I might as well take 2 apples, it'd be the same spanking. When he left around the corner, put my hand on the other pocket, took out this beautiful apple, rubbed it, and ate it. That's my story for today.
All right, so right now I'm going to turn this down, take the chicken out. We're going to take a quick break, and I will show you when we get back how to deglaze it and make the quick sauce with the scallion leeks. So we'll be right back. Also, I believe my father's has a tape to show you during the break, correct?
Oh, we have a little tape about the farm we live on now, this place in Medway. There it is, right there. What we have here is a little cart that my 2 grandsons, Tyler and Michael Shayhood and Tyler Iarussi, put together with a spreader in the back for wheels and a Christmas tree stand in the front for the steering wheel. And you get some wheels from a carriage and some boards. We're going to put on a motor on there. Once we get the motor on and get it working, we're going to manufacture these, and we're going to probably sell a whole bundle of them. So right now I'm going to show you some of my friends as I go out there and feed them. Not too loud today. It's usually louder than this. I'm going to walk over to the rest of them now. The ducks should be hungry and the goats should be hungry, so reach over there. Enough for you? These are guinea hens. So I've been named them Italian hens. I don't like the name guinea. But these are very nice. Okay. I'll see you back at the cooking show. We have a special cooking show tonight. We're cooking some very delicious meals. Here comes some more of my friends.
Welcome back to the show. We got a few minutes left, so we're going to have to scramble here at the end. So my father's going to start up. What do you...
Saffron. It takes 75,000 of these stigmas of the saffron crocus to make a pound of this. And what it does is it's starting to turn nice and yellowish now, the color we want. Then I add some of this nice cheese to this. And I'm set to go. I'm going to put it in the platter here.
Get a little on the spoon. Okay. While he's plating his, I had to speed mine up a little bit. What I did, like I told you, I took the chicken out, add a little bit more olive oil to the pan, cut up some leeks, sauteed those, added the chicken back in, add about half a cup to a cup of dry white wine, cover it for about 5 to 10 minutes, and it's done. But I just want to cut one for you to show you what it's going to look like, and then we're going to plate it. Now, the chicken's pounded out real thin, so you don't have to worry about it not being cooked. So that's what it looks like inside, like kind of like a jelly roll. And I'm just going to plate it around my father's.
See the yellowish, nice yellowish hue to it, a nice one flavor. Get the brown side up. Ah. That it?
2 more.
Oh.
Then you can, we're not going to add the sauce on here now, but usually we wouldn't put it right on the risotto. Usually if you get a nice platter with the chicken and dump the leeks and the sauce and the wine right over it. But we're not going to do that tonight. We'll save it on the side.
Risotto Milanese with Brian, what do you call this, Brian?
Chicken with
Briano?
polo.
Palo con prosciutto e l'altra roba, other ingredients.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
We'll put this on the table over here.
Okay, that about does our show.
And Brian and I are going to sit down here and enjoy this meal.
And I'd like to thank you again for watching another episode of Soup to Nuts. Catch us again after Christmas. Want to wish everybody a happy, healthy holiday. You'll probably see this after Thanksgiving, so we hope you had a nice
Can
holiday.
I say hi to some people?
You can
How
say hi
about
to some people.
Evelyn Gilambadi, who watched the program faithfully, loves the program. Hi, Evelyn. Have a great day. Nice Thanksgiving.
And I'd like to say hi to Jerry Borelli, who owns Weldrite in Ashland, one of the best welders, if anybody needs a welder in town. Say hello to him and his family. I know he's watching. And also, I want you guys to look for us. We're creating a web page. We're in the process of creating a web page for our show. We have the domain name. It's called soup2nuts.com. So it's www.soup-2-nuts.com. Next show, I should have some more information for you on it. We should be up and running in about a month. So we'll look forward to getting some feedback as well as recipes. So we'll see you next time on Soup to Nuts. Thank you.
Arrivederci.
What has no eyes and can't see? A rock. But that's not what I'm going to sell you. I'm selling you a potato. Potato animals for cannibals, to be exact. Now, with this potato, it's not just an ordinary potato that you buy at a market. It's specially grown, and it has this golden color that makes it out from the rest. Now, to see those spud animals, first you take ordinary toothpicks, stick them in, and you can make any sort of animal you want. It can be a cow, it can be a horse, it can be a bear, it can be a frog. But right now, I think I'm just gonna make a giraffe. So, call 1-555-555. What's that say? 8915 and buy your potato now. See you later, folks.